You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're out the dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
Sometimes, Combs, you just gotta leave him hanging on it a little bit. Keep him guessing on when you're going to come in. But guys, welcome to the Man Hour. Michael Buckheiser here with Brandon Combs. Head over to manhour.com, guys. Pick up some merchandise. We got some nice little hoodies. We got some beanies. I got my beanie on tonight. But we got stickers, hats, all that good stuff. You can also drop a donation. But how you can support the show the most right now, Combs, all you gotta do right now is hit the like button. That's all you gotta do, guys. Hit the like button and support us, and it helps you more than you'll ever know. But obviously, guys, we have Brandon Combs on us tonight. Why is on assignment calling some high school basketball games. He actually will be doing an interview with a top point guard in the state of Indiana tonight as well. So pretty excited about that. But Combs, how was your day, man?
Man, it was filled with work and work on the show, and that's pretty much my day every day. Work and try to make this thing as best as we can for all of you out there in Facebook and YouTube land, listening on Big X Radio. That's
313 The Flash too, man. Don't forget about The Flash.
Yeah,
and so
Detroit.
If you guys have not heard, starting Wednesday, tomorrow, we are on 313 The Flash, based out of Detroit, Michigan. It is a talk radio over there. It is a wide variety. It's from sports to
pop
culture.
Word has it Eminem's going to be listening.
Word has it as Eminem and Snoop Dogg have a beef. Who do you take in that beef, man?
I take Eminem every time, anytime.
You know, I still think MGK beat Eminem in that rap battle that they had.
He crushed him at first, yeah, for sure. But then Eminem finished him off, though.
Oh, 100%. Like, Eminem gave MGK a shovel, said, dig your own grave. MGK said, do you want me to bury myself too?
I'm not going to lie. MGK came at him pretty good, though, man. I'm a big MGK guy, too. I like a lot of his stuff. But when he came with that, I was like, oh, no. I said, man, I really liked him, and now he's dead. So.
There are 3 things in the world that you don't do, right? One of them is challenge your parents or challenge your father's manhood, right? Because he will put you in your place every time. The second thing is always respect your wife, because she will put you in your place as well. And the third thing is never call Eminem out in a rap beef, because he will destroy you every time.
I'll add a fourth one on there, and Chase Young broke that rule. Don't ever call out Tom Brady before a playoff game.
You know what? I'm kind of intrigued about that. Like, Chase Young's, I don't think the Washington game was even over yet. Like, the Philadelphia Eagles put Studfield in, and like Chase Young's like, hey, phone now. And he texted Tom Brady before the game was even over, says, I can't wait. I want you.
I
like Chase Young.
I like Chase Young too, but you just called out the GOAT. And now Tom Brady's going to throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he's not going to get sacked once.
You know, I would agree with you if Bill Belichick was coaching that team. If the defense wasn't playing, the defense just isn't playing good right now over in Tampa Bay. And I don't know what it is. Is it the fact that they just, they needed some better competition, or I don't know. That defense just is not playing good over there at all.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the fact that they're not playing well. Because it's hard. They haven't really given up a ton of points. I mean,
They haven't given up a ton of points, but they've given up a lot of yardage. It is kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs philosophy is like bend and don't break. Like we'll let you run up and down the field, but you aren't going to score on us.
We'll let you get to the 20, but you're kicking a field goal.
Yeah, but that's kind of the football team's MO is like they'll live and die by the field goal. Like at this point.
Yeah. Don't look, man. The Washington defense, if they can hold Tampa Bay to 13 or less, they're in business. But as soon as Tampa Bay hits 17, Washington can't keep up with them. They can't. I mean, Washington can't score like that. They don't have the offense to get into a shootout. And as much as I love Alex Smith and as much as I believe he is the comeback player of the year, obviously running away with it, he cannot get into a shootout with Tom Brady.
Yeah, and even when Alex Smith was 25, he was not that type of player to put up 35, 45 points on you. He has always been that game manager type of player, kind of I will put you in a position to win, but the defense has to step up and really perform as well. Yeah. And that's kind of that's kind of what I loved about Alex Smith was I was like, oh man, Alex Smith has the ball, we're screwed. I was like, no, Alex Smith, you just do your thing, and hopefully the defense can get a few stops, and we're golden.
The best part about Alex Smith is that he keeps the opposing offense off the field.
Yes,
that's just what he does. He controls the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't fumble. He doesn't throw a ton of interceptions. He is the consummate game manager, and that's why he's been so successful for so long. I think that's why he's been able to come back off of this injury is because it's not like he was a Patrick Mahomes or a very mobile quarterback to begin with. He knew he could sit in the pocket and he could still be a game manager, hand the ball off, throw a couple of dump routes. That's what they're there for. And so he's going to have a good, maybe 2 more years left in him, even after all of them surgeries, and that's amazing. I mean, for what he's been through and all the stuff that he's gone through. I don't know if you saw on Facebook, but his wife turned his original leg brace into a trophy for him.
Really?
They had it turned into a Super Bowl trophy out of the brace. That was pretty damn cool. But I mean, this guy was told that he was gonna, he almost died. Yeah. And then he was told he would never walk again. Then he was told he'd never play football again. So, kudos to him. I agree with a lot of people who say rename the Comeback Player of the Year award to the Alex Smith Comeback Player of the Year award. You know what I mean? I'd be all for it.
Yeah, I would be all for that too. But then you have other players why don't you stand that after me? Like Adrian Peterson, for example, or
but Adrian Peterson didn't go through.
Right. Yeah. But I see what
all
you're saying.
the stuff added up. I mean, this guy almost died.
Yeah.
He almost lost his life because of an injury on the field. Yeah. And then to be told you'll never walk again, and then to walk again, and then to be told, well, you'll never play football again, and now to be on the field in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Regardless of a 7-9 record, you're on the field in the playoffs, and you're the starting quarterback. It's phenomenal.
And to be honest, there are probably more people rooting for the Washington football team right now than rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I guarantee it. Everybody wants the Buccaneers to be knocked off. At least for the people that I talked.
Sanity for today says Alex Smith is going to be on the Eagles box by 2023.
But think about this, guys. Alex Smith went through all of that stuff. And granted, I was not in his personal life by any means, but my wife follows him on Instagram and follows his wife on Instagram, and she would show me videos, and he was always positive. Think about this: you are being told all this stuff, and there are some days when I'm not going through half of the stuff that he has gone through, and I'm just like, "F you guys, I'm in a pissed off mood. Leave me alone." But for him to just have that integrity, to have that pride, just to come back day after day after day and push himself to be just, a role model to his kids and to us. And he is just a great human being. And
yeah, no, absolutely. I agree 100%. I mean, there are some people in this world that you hear their story and you could just get behind. You know what I mean? And Alex Smith has just become one of them. I mean, he just has. It's inspirational to hear what he's gone through. And look, I get it. People are like, I don't feel bad for him. He's a millionaire, superstar, NFL player, blah, 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 blah. If you can't look at what he's done and say to yourself, wow, that right there is somebody who I can get behind, then that's insane to me. I don't understand the way that you think. So I've got up here, a picture of the leg brace turned into a trophy for you. So I'm going to put it up right here for everybody to see if you haven't seen this before. This is what his wife did with the trophy. It had done with the leg brace.
That's actually really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's absolutely sick. I mean, he is, and not only just him though too, but his family for what they've gone through. I mean, they almost lost their husband, their father, and then when he gets back on the field, man, I don't know if you remember that first hit he took against the Rams.
Yeah.
I just like
my heart sunk. I'm like, oh shit.
You just because and I said it before he even started playing. I said I'm not going to watch the game. Yeah. Because I don't want to see what happens when he takes a hit. And I mean, this guy is just a warrior, and kudos to him. I mean, he deserves every bit of credit that he gets.
Yeah, and also kudos to him for being a stand-up guy, because when he was in Kansas City, the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes to replace him, and the Chiefs came to him like, "Hey, we want you to teach this guy how to be a professional, and then after this year, you are going to be free to go wherever you want, right?"
Yeah.
And he took that as like a badge of honor. He's like, yes, I will teach this kid to be a great human being. And Patrick Mahomes, he is a humble guy, but like, I mean, like obviously, he you have to have a little bit of swagger in your body to be, considered,
right,
from like what he's done, right? But he is still very, very grounded and learned how to be a professional from Alex Smith. So next year, in the 2021 draft, when the Washington football team drafts a quarterback, whether it be Kyle Trask or that kid from BYU so he knows his job is to train this kid to be a professional and come in and take his job. And what better person to learn from?
And Alex Smith is just one of those guys that when you look at him and when you see him on the field, you know that even if he's not the starting quarterback, he's going to be that guy that's going to be there to lead you through whatever you need to get led through.
Unless you're Dwayne Haskins. Which he just lost cause, I guess.
Dwayne Haskins is just an idiot, I mean, he does stupid shit. I mean, he cost himself that starting job. I mean,
all right, guys, we are going to take our first break of the night. This is the Man Hour. On the other side of the break, guys, we have Trivia Tuesday. The phone lines will be open, so if you feel like you can get 5 correct answers, you get entered in to win a $50 gas gift card later in the month. So just call in, like it will come directly to the computer here, and I'll answer it, and we'll jump you on Trivia Tuesday. So if you are feeling knowledgeable, if you're feeling smart, go ahead and call that phone line and get entered in that Trivia Tuesday, guys. But we'll be right back here on Man Hour. Do you need a new hoodie? Head over to manhour.com and pick yourself up one right now. They're on sale. Use promo code MANHOUR to save yourself 10%. That is promo code MANHOUR at manhour.com. Hoodie time.
Going on? It's your boy Brandon Holmes from the Man Hour. If you have not downloaded Thrive Fantasy yet, I am not sure what you're waiting for. Download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or Play Store by visiting their website, www.thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. Use promo code MANHOUR when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant match bonus up to $50 on your first deposit of $20 or more. That's promo code MANHOUR, thrivefantasy.com.
Coming up on the Man Hour. Have the Padres done enough this offseason to overtake the NL West in 2021? Why haven't the Mets made a big splash in the offseason yet? Who is going to be the first free agent to start signing this season? What are the Cubs doing? All that much more on the Man Hour. Man Hour Nation, do us a favor right now. Please hit that like button and share this with a couple friends as well. It would be highly appreciated. It helps the channel out more than you would ever know. Please hit that like button right now. Also sub to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Man Hour. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheischer here with Brandon Combs. This is live, raw, and uncut sports talk on this Tuesday night. It is Trivia Tuesday time, so if you are feeling froggy and want to jump on those phone lines, 812-406-8384 are the phone lines. They are open. Combs will read you off 5 questions of your choice. What do you give it away there, Combs?
I got a prize in the box.
Prize in the box.
I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, but there's a prize. It's got a value of at least $50, maybe a little bit more, probably a little bit more. It's an autographed piece of memorabilia. I will not tell you what it is or what team, but if you can answer 5 questions correctly, you will win the prize. So feel free to go ahead, give us a call, 812-406-8384. Get on the phone lines, hop in, get some trivia. Let's go.
And you do have options between the 4 major sports that we're talking about: NFL, NBA, hockey, and Major League Baseball. If you guys are, whatever you want, we make it nice and easy for you. So, Combs, before the phone lines start ringing here, the Heisman Trophy has had a winner now. Devontae Smith from Alabama, the wide receiver, has won the Heisman. This season, he has had 105 receptions for 1,643 yards with an average of 15.6, 20 touchdowns, with his longest being 66 yards. It is not common for a receiver to win a Heisman. So this guy had to have been, a hell of a player for one. And then I was seeing some draft boards. A lot of people don't even have him going in the top 10 or top 12. I was kind of confused about that.
Yeah, I think he goes way higher. I mean, there is no way he drops below that. Whether it's Miami that takes him, I believe Houston has a top 5. I mean, Miami with Tua and bringing a receiver that he knows and bringing him over there, I think that would be instrumental for them, especially with how poorly Tua performed this past year. I think if you make him comfortable and bring somebody there with him, I don't know how their running back Najee Davis. I don't know how the hell he wasn't. That guy was absolutely phenomenal, and I thought that he should have been nominated. He wasn't even nominated, but that's a quarterback wide receiver award. It's very. I mean, you have to do something really, really special as a running back or defensive player to win that award, to get it away from a quarterback or wide receiver.
Well, and then to even think about it, it is more of a quarterback reward. Let's be flat out honest, because those 1,600 or it was it 1,600 yards that he had? Yeah, 1,641 yards.
They came from somewhere.
Yeah, Jones threw him the ball, so Jones got those 1,600 yards plus the other receiver. So I think he had over 3,000 or 4,000 yards this season, something ridiculous. I mean, Alabama was putting up crazy numbers earlier in the season. They were getting 500 or 600 yards a game. So, and most of those were coming from Mac Jones. So for Devontae Smith to win the reward, I kind of wonder if it's starting not to be the best player on the best team reward, but kind of the most valuable player, because obviously Devontae Smith is the most valuable player, I think, for Alabama, because Wyatt posted earlier on a Facebook page that that Devontae Smith will actually be playing in the championship game, come Monday. So kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I'm never excited to see Alabama play in a championship game.
Well, I'm not either because I got a raw egg bet happening.
Oh God! So you need Alabama to win or lose?
I need Alabama to lose. So the bet was like, I don't know, like
You're
a month ago was like anybody but Alabama can win the national championship, and then that person would have to eat the raw egg. But if Bama won, I'd have to eat the raw egg. So really not looking forward to that at all.
Can you at least put salt on it or something? Like, I don't know.
You know, there were no like structures to the bet, so me and like put a little salt and pepper, stir it up a little bit, like
put some ketchup in there, make it feel like a scrambled egg or something.
My whole thing is a yolk, man. I don't like yolk at all. Yolk's
see, I like
gross.
an egg over easy. I don't mind an egg over easy, but I yeah, I don't think I could do a raw one. I'd probably end up spitting it right back up.
Yeah, I'm worried about the projectile vomit. Like once it hits the dangly thing in the back of your throat,
Guys, see, this is what happens when you don't call in for Trivia Tuesday. We start talking about projectile vomiting and trying to get down raw eggs. So go ahead, call us 812-406-8384. Let's get some trivia going. Who's up? Let's go.
So maybe we need to do a little bit better promoting on that. That's kind of my fault. I'm in charge of the promotion and I didn't do it. But let's we were supposed to have Zen on tonight as well for our weekly interview with Zen, but he has
found out about a surprise graduation party.
Yeah, he is apparently he's graduating high school and he didn't know. So, but surprise, you're graduating. No, yeah. but yeah, we will definitely get Zen on here very, very shortly. So if you guys are interested in, following Zen's career from senior in high school to all the way through Ohio State, his first year, second year, etc., every Tuesday at 9 p.m., Zen will be joining with us for his weekly little, I guess, phone interview, right? I mean, we're just going to
be great.
Follow his projection through life and whatnot. So, Combs,
you think there's any chance whatsoever we can get some of the coaching staff to come on with him?
That's a great question. What coach would you like?
The head coach.
That's not going to happen. Ryan Daly's a dick. I'm totally kidding. I don't know him from Adam. Honestly, he seems like a pretty stand up guy. Especially if Urban Meyer wasn't going to leave Ohio State and until Ryan Daly was ready to take.
I mean, he's an offensive lineman, right? So
Zen,
yeah, maybe we get whatever quarterback that's on with him. Say we start talking about how well Zen's protecting him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully Zen is protecting him, right?
And hopefully they don't play Notre Dame because then I'll have to root against Zen.
You're going to be sickly man, I really hope he does well so he gives some clout.
Yeah, I hope all the sacks come from the other side of the line.
just come up the middle. Combs, let's go ahead and take another break. On the other side of the break, we got some NFL talk, guys. COVID is running rampant through Cleveland right now. Cleveland Browns are shut down again, so we are going to cover that a little bit. The drama in Philadelphia is starting to mount. Zach Ertz is starting to come out. Jason Kelsey, all that stuff is going on. And then Joe Judge, the New York Giants head coach, calls Philly out. So all that, much more, guys, right after this little break. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhouse with Brandon Combs here, live, raw, and uncut sports talk. It's kind of just been a weird night, Brandon. I feel like I really can't get in the groove. Usually when I get home, I kind of just chill and put my feet up and watching TV. But I've been running with my head cut off since I've been home. I really haven't got my bearings yet. So let's get our bearings
today too. So I didn't really get my bearings yet. I watched a little bit of the World Junior Hockey Classic where Finland took down Russia in the bronze medal game. We got USA and Canada in the championship tonight. That starts in about an hour, man. I can't wait.
And the and the juniors are 18 and under, or are they 16 and under?
So 19.
19 and under.
Typically it's you have 18 and 19-year-olds. Very rarely do you see a 17-year-old, but it's typically 18 and 19. These are kids that are usually in college. Some of them have already been drafted and are just playing in this tournament one last time before they go pro. And it's a fun tournament to watch. I watch it every year. I'm a big hockey guy, so I love watching this tournament. I've coached at this level, obviously not this level, but this age group, and I've reffed at that level as well. So for me, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy watching the kids grow as athletes, and it's always, for me, it's not just about the team that wins, because I'm always rooting for USA to win it. But when you watch some of these kids after grinding it out for 60 minutes trying to win a medal, and then have to stand on the other side and watch the other team get their medal, is just, to me, that says more about their character than anything else. Because in any other sport, they walk off. They don't watch it. In hockey, they watch. Hockey to me is absolutely insane.
To be honest, hockey is more of a man's man sport. Like I want to say, like, you are there to outsmart, outwill the other person throughout the 3 periods that like you play.
Right.
But like then you're like friends like afterwards. Like you're like proud of their success, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like you look at their sport, like most sports. After a team wins, you shake hands as you walk off the field and all that. But you look at hockey at the end of a playoff series, say a 7-game playoff series where you're going to watch the other team skate the damn cup. You line up, your entire team lines up and shakes hands individually, one by one. After you just spent 7 grueling games trying to beat the other team, you lost, and you still line up and shake hands. That's sportsmanship at its finest, man.
And you literally fight each other for seven games, right? Yeah.
That's the thing. And then you watch some of these guys who get into multiple fights, and half of them are still bleeding at the time that they're shaking hands, and they're still shaking hands at the end. And it's a great game, I love this. I love hockey, man. I've always loved hockey. I love playing it. I love coaching it, reffing it. I've been at all 3 aspects of it, so I've really enjoyed the game.
There's a semi-pro hockey team in Kansas City called Missouri Mavericks. They're like probably 2 steps below the NHL, right? And I went to quite a few other games, and it was like clockwork. Like as soon as that 3rd period hits, you see the gloves drop, and it's like instant fight. Like I mean, it was almost like it was pre-planned. Like every time, like, hey, 3rd period, it's going down.
Are they a part of the WHL, the Western Hockey League, or? I'm
not for sure. I mean, it's been like six or 7 years since I've been to one of their games, and they've switched leagues a few times because they're 5 or 6 teams in Kansas, so they might just be in their own little league there. Like I'm not 100% sure, but a league we do know teams that are in, the NFL, the Cleveland Browns. They finally made the playoffs since 2002. First time in Wyatt's lifetime the Browns are in the playoffs again. So think about that. But COVID is starting to run rampant. They've had 7 positive tests, including their head coach, which he will miss the game on. They play Saturday, right? If I'm not mistaken. So let me ask you this:
the Browns play Sunday night.
Okay, so it's the Steelers Browns Sunday night game. So, but either way, he has been told he is not going to be coaching that game. Special teams coordinator will be acting head coach for this particular game. So last night you were trying to put a little bit of pressure on me to make a pick for this game.
I was just asking you to stand by what you were talking. I mean, you were talking a lot of junk and saying how good Cleveland was.
I would stand by it if they had their head coach. But do the Browns even have a chance now with all this COVID stuff that's happening?
Let me ask you a question. You said if they had their head coach, you would stand by it.
Yeah.
How many yards was he going to run for?
160, 165.
All right. How many touchdown passes was he going to throw?
2, I believe.
Okay. All right. Well, then I understand it. I mean, but no. Look. Do they have a chance? Yes. I'm more interested in what happens if they have to postpone this game. What does the NFL do?
Well, first things first is they will not postpone this game because it is not the Steelers, it is not the Chiefs, it's not the Packers, it's not the
if Baker
Ravens.
Mayfield comes down with a positive test, if Nick Chubb comes down with, there is no way you can tell me. Even look, I get what the NFL has done to some of these teams. I get how they handled one team versus another team and all that. I understand that, but this is the playoffs. If you're going to tell me you're going to make the Cleveland Browns play without Baker Mayfield or Nick Chubb,
yeah, they are.
I don't even.
Okay, so
I disagree, and I would hate that decision. I would think that is a horrible decision.
Okay, so let's say in theory, let's throw a name out there. Like this is all going to be sitting around the quarterback Baker Mayfield because the quarterback is the primary spot on the field, right? When the ball is snapped, he touches the ball like every time. With that being said, let's say Baker Mayfield does get COVID and they decide to push the game or two so Baker can play. Okay, so therefore, yes, the Steelers get a couple days extra rest. They get a couple days to prep and like all that shit, right? Yada, yada, yada. But then they have to turn around and play Sunday afternoon. Do you have to push that game back then too? Or do the Steelers get the short end of the stick again and they have to play 2 playoff games in 5 days or let's say 6 days, right? And then they just played 3 games in 12 days just a week ago or two weeks ago.
Again, to a lack of a plan by the NFL.
What kind of plan would you put in place in this, though? Like a team comes down with COVID.
I would have had a bye week in between each playoff game.
So
that's what I would have done if I was the NFL.
What would be the point of battling for the first overall seed then? Like at that point. So
this isn't a normal season, though, Buck. That's what I'm saying. This isn't a normal
think about
season.
this.
This is a season you have to prepare for the work. You cannot have where you say Baker Mayfield gets a positive test. You cannot tell me, yes, the Cleveland Browns have to play this game. That is asinine to me.
Is it though?
Yes.
Because if you move back
City
one
Chiefs
game,
are playing this week, and Patty Mahomes came down with COVID, what does that do to the Chiefs?
it makes them play next week because they got a bye week. But I see what you're saying. Like the Chiefs, the Chiefs are a shell of themselves. Yes, but what happens if Patrick Mahomes gets a sprained ankle? It is the same thing. Do you let's hold this game off for six days for like a sprained ankle? How is it different?
That's an injury because that's an injury. COVID is something that you can plan for. An injury is not. COVID is something where you could have had a plan in place for some sort of. I don't care if they have to play Wednesday and then their following playoff game gets pushed till Monday. That's fine with me. But
that is fine with you. But what about the teams that then have to, like all of a sudden change their whole week to? So, like, what you're saying, like, it makes sense in theory, in the regular season. But the simple fact of the matter is you were in the postseason, and every extra day is so beneficial for that team because you have nicks and bruises. Like, you are an old man, and you've had, injuries, sprained ankle, shoulders, like, etc. I mean, like, you guys don't understand this, but from one day – you can feel total crap. You cannot even put on your shoes. 24 hours later, you feel like $1 million. So, I mean, it just like.
So you're telling me you can't do that to Pittsburgh because it puts them at a disadvantage, but you're telling me you can do that to Cleveland even though it puts them at a disadvantage?
We have learned this year that the that the NFL has their marquee teams that they want to win, right? Like, whether you want to say it or not, they moved back that Baltimore-Pittsburgh game earlier in the season to like Wednesday afternoon because they wanted Lamar Jackson to play. Be flat out honest.
Money.
You can say what you want.
But then he still didn't even play, though.
Yeah, but they were doing everything they could to get Lamar Jackson on the field. Denver Broncos had no quarterback. They had an 8th string receiver play quarterback for them that played backup in high school or that.
Yeah,
but they made them play.
But yeah, because the game didn't mean nothing.
But it did mean something. Flashback to that game.
I get you. I understand what you're saying. Like I was with you then, and I'm with you now. They did Denver dirty, but that also caused a downward spiral for Pittsburgh as well, because then Pittsburgh ended up having to play like 3 games in 12 days, and they haven't really even fully recovered from that.
No, they haven't.
I don't understand how you didn't have this plan in place. And I get you play for the 1 seed so you can get that first round bye. So you still get a first round bye, but now instead of 1 week, you have 2 weeks in between games.
Actually, you'd have 3 weeks because let's look at the Chiefs. Majority of their players did not play last week. So they would have 2 weeks off, right? But then on your schedule, you play a game every other week.
So even better.
So they have 3 weeks off.
Like,
think about how rusty you are going to be with 3 weeks off.
The
Chiefs are going to be rusty with 2 weeks off.
You would have played Week 17 though if you would have known. If you would have known ahead of time you're going to have 2 weeks off, you would have played Week 17. And
I don't think you would have.
I think you would.
Because you are still risking at a catastrophic sprained ankle or broken leg or ACL or something like at that point.
Yeah, but you play it like a modified,
much like what the Bills did against the Dolphins. Okay.
I don't understand, and I haven't understood all season why the NFL wasn't prepared for COVID. They haven't been. They haven't been prepared for it all year. They've just been, we're gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna do this. Okay, Denver, you play Pittsburgh. We'll push you off to Monday.
Right.
No, never mind. We'll push you off to Tuesday. We'll play Wednesday afternoon because we have to see the tree lighting in New York. So they just have not had a play. The NFL has done a piss poor job at managing this. Out of all of the sports that have played during this pandemic, the NFL has been the worst with handling it.
Let me ask you this question, though. I mean, so obviously I coach football, and we had 1 or 2 positive cases, but I really think those positive cases were just kids that didn't really want to be on the team anyways. But I digress from that. The difference between football and, say, a basketball is that football is outside, right? So whether you want to say it or not, we don't know what COVID is. Don't know if it's airborne. Don't know if it's passed through like your spit, or if you're bound
They're still
to
figuring it out.
Get it right. So, but more people that have been playing sports, I think, have not gotten COVID. I would say from the sports aspect. So when you're breathing hard and running and jumping and doing all this stuff, if it's airborne or what, or you would think because you're breathing more air in, you would have a higher likelihood of getting it. Where people are getting it is when they're going out to the bars and the restaurants and hanging out and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to say because look, people have lost their lives to this thing. I mean, I'm not one of those people who's fearful of it. My girlfriend is very fearful of it. Mm-hmm. Her brother is very fearful of it. And she just had a coworker this week who had a family member who was very, very young die from it. And so I get what you're saying. I don't understand from a sports aspect with the whole COVID thing. It's, how we go to some of these stadiums and they're empty. You go to Pittsburgh, there's no fans in the stands, right? But on the field, it's okay. they take their helmets off after the game. They're hugging. They're sweating and spitting on each other all throughout the game.
Right.
But in the stands is where you can get COVID, but on the field it can't get past. Where this is where I get confused about the whole COVID thing anyway. I don't understand.
This is the one thing that confused the hell out of me all through our high school through our whole high school season, right? If you had your helmet on, you did not have to have a mask on. But the minute you took your helmet off, you get because those bars in front of your face blocked it, right? But
right.
But
those holes in the masks.
Let's kind of do full circle here. If this game gets postponed, which it won't because it can't.
No, it won't.
If it does get postponed, it will give every other team that has an opportunity to play Pittsburgh or Cleveland an advantage, and I don't think the NFL wants to do that. I think
either way somebody's getting an advantage, though. I mean, don't you? I mean, without Baker Mayfield or Nick Chubb or any of their wide receivers, Pittsburgh's at a major advantage. I mean,
I agree 100% with that.
The only way Cleveland wins this game is if they play the games of their life. That's how they win this game. They have to come out and they have to play a flawless football game. And you can't do that if Baker Mayfield's not on the field. You can't do that if Nick Chubb's not on the field. That's just not – it's not going to happen. So I don't – man.
And they also can't do that with their head coach, which they have grown accustomed to his play calling all year.
Look, the head coach is still going to draw up the game plan.
But he's not going to call the plays.
Well, you don't think he's going to be in an earpiece somewhere if he sees an adjustment that needs to be made?
No, because how? Are you going to be in the press box isolated from everybody else? You can't even be at the facility. You were supposed to be at home.
Right, but he'll be. I mean, we have technology, Buck.
But you aren't allowed a cell phone on the sideline.
Not on the sidelines, but up in the booth. If you have your freaking AirPods in underneath your headset, who's going to know?
Bill Belichick is going to know, and he's going to turn those mofos in, right?
Bill Belichick would have been the
2.0.
leading one to do it. I don't think the coach is as big of a deal as the players are.
You'd be surprised. Come on now.
But I understand where they'll make you play if your head coach is down. I don't understand how they could tell the Cleveland Browns, look, I know you're missing your starting quarterback and your starting running back. Sorry, them's the breaks. Because I'm telling you right now, if it was Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, we'd have a bye week next week.
I would say Tyreek Hill would not be as big of an – if it was a Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson again, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, right? I think there would be some type of bending of the rules. The test was inconclusive. Let's go ahead and do another test, right? I know that is wrong, right? But let's be honest. The NFL is all about the big money dollar. And if Tom Brady is not playing against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, let's say we're talking about the Super Bowl here. Tom Brady tests positive for COVID 3 days before the Super Bowl. I guarantee you we're going to have the Nick Saban effect, and all of a sudden, 3 positive tests or 3 negative tests in 4 days. Oh, you're on the you're good to go, man.
Yeah, so a lot of these players that are getting it without symptoms.
Yeah.
A lot of these coaches are getting it without symptoms. A lot of I don't know. I just don't understand this whole thing from a medical standpoint, and I probably don't. But if you've got it and you've got no symptoms, and you're on the field, I mean, you're already around these guys anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? The only difference is now that you know that you have it. We've gone through that here at home is, all right, so you had somebody at work that tested positive. Now you know that they're positive. You didn't know yesterday. But yesterday we let the kids go out and all hang out in a group.
Exactly.
Today we know, so we should probably keep him home because that's the responsible thing to do. But really, the truth of the matter is that doesn't really make a difference because if you've already gotten it, you've already spread it.
Right.
If
and
it's
on the flip side of things, the coaches, the Cleveland Browns head coach that tested positive for COVID and will miss the game, him and Mike Tomlin shook hands after the game.
Yeah.
2 days later, he tested positive.
Yeah.
So Mike Tomlin isn't going to get isolated.
Right.
Contact tracing or whatever.
Right. That's why I don't understand the whole thing is because in the sports world right now it doesn't make sense. If you were if during this pandemic you said, "Hey, let's play ball," which I'm glad that they did. I love sports. I watch every single sport, every game. I watch golf and tennis when it's on. Like I watch everything. No, I watch everything. Like I just love sports. And so I'm glad that they've played through the pandemic, but if you're going to play through the pandemic, then play through the pandemic. Like, You know what I mean? If a guy comes in and he's like freaking, vomiting everywhere and he's, got a fever and all this, yeah, sure, keep him out because you would keep him out anyway. You know what I mean? If a guy has the flu,
hang on here. Hang on. Let's talk about your air quote goat there, Michael Jordan, and the flu game. Right,
the flu game, yeah,
which turned out to be food poisoning,
and the flu kills more people than COVID does.
Exactly. So my question for the world and for the masses is like next year when we have a better understanding of COVID because like the COVID vaccine is already going around. My wife got it because she's a frontline worker. She is a nurse and she deals with COVID people like all day every day.
Got it too.
And so are we going to start treating the flu like the COVID? Like if you come with if you have the flu, are you going to get isolated for 14 days? Do you have to sit out and quarantine and like miss the NFL? No.
I think the problem is that this strain works its way faster than the flu, I guess. And,
whatever, man.
And it causes whatever with the lungs and but the fact of the matter is that when they talk about it, they only talk about the negative. Right. I said something the other day where they said something here in Chicago, 40,000 people tested positive and we had 700 deaths. I said, all right, so why don't you also put the statistic up there that we had 43,300 people survive? I think that, but they don't, and so it's the same thing when it comes to the sports. Like all right, he tested positive, we're going to keep him out. Well, that's great, but wasn't he around the backup and wasn't he around the other coach and wasn't he around the other, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't.
My biggest thing about the whole COVID thing from day one is like, common sense has failed us, to be honest with you. Common sense has failed us.
In the world, period.
So, I told this story on the Man Hour. I think it was like one of the first Man Hour episodes that like we did together. Speaking of which, we're getting pretty close on 100 episodes. We're going to have to celebrate that, man. But our whole football team. So a school bus driver knowingly had it, drove us to a away game. Everybody on the bus walked past the bus driver, right? And common sense tells you everybody on the bus should isolate, right? But no, only the people that sat directly behind him had it made no sense to me whatsoever. I'm like common sense has lacked this whole COVID thing, and it just I don't know.
It really had. I mean, and like I said, I mean, that's the world that we live in right now. I mean, common sense is not a thing, and it goes far beyond COVID. It goes into a lot of the issues we had over the summer. It goes into the things that we deal with every day with political nonsense and all that other stuff. So trust me, I'm with you. Common sense is no longer a thing. It is about panic and what creates panic and what spreads panic. And there are those of us in the world that live like I do and like I think you do, Buck, where we're not going to live in fear. And, if something happens, we'll deal with it then. And then there's the other half of, oh my God, this thing, I was within 30 feet of somebody who had COVID Feel my head. Do I feel warm to you? Like, that's the other half, and that's the half that they are thriving on, and that's the half that keeps this thing going the way they want it to go, and they're gonna make billions of dollars off of it with a beat.
Yeah. And I was going to touch on some stuff that happened this summer here in Louisville, Kentucky, but I lost a lot of friends about that. Well, I guess wasn't friends. They like if they were really friends, they could have a strong discussion and still be friends at the.
That's the thing. Like with me, like political stances, all that stuff, religious views, all that stuff. Like, look, I have my own points of views, and if you have a different point of view, that's great. We can talk about it if you want to, but I'm not going to look at you any less or any
right.
Like, I'm not that guy. You can have a different opinion than me, and I'm okay with that. Like, I look at things from both sides of the fence. I look at, my point of view. I look at your point of view, and then I weigh it, and I say, hey, well, this is, I've changed my mind about some stuff here and there when I've listened to people talk about it. And so I don't know. Some people like to listen to one side of things and make up their mind on that one side, and you can never tell them any different. And that goes from both sides of it, though. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It goes from both sides of it. So, even when you look at our presidential election, 4 years ago, the other side was screaming the same exact thing that the other side is screaming now. Like, it just flopped sides. It's absolutely insane. And all of them say, no, that didn't happen 4 years ago. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to see my Facebook memories? Because, it did.
it did very, very much so. And we spent through 3 years fighting it. Well, not we, but them, right? So, Speaking of fighting it, Joe Judge, the New York Giants head coach, has called out the Philadelphia Eagles, saying that it is a disgrace that they tanked and like all this stuff. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday on the show in Way or No Way. But for Joe Judge to call out Philly, like, what do you think his motive is, and like, does he have any justification of doing this whatsoever?
Joe Judge, listen to me very carefully, because I know you're listening to this show right now.
The best damn sports show here.
And I'm going to tell you this once, Joe Judge. If you want to complain about not winning your division, try winning more than 6 games.
Oh, facts. Drop it.
Try. I mean, seriously, you want to blame Philly for trying to get a better draft spot. You want to blame Philly for trying to see what they had in their backup quarterback. You want to blame Philly for doing whatever decision Philly made to do to run their franchise. All you had to do was win a 7th game.
Yeah.
All you had to do was win a 7th game, and you couldn't even do that. So I don't want to hear any 6-9 team. If I want to hear a team complain, I want to hear Flores and the Miami Dolphins complain that they're sitting at home at 10-6 while an 8-8 Bears team and a 7-9 Washington team are in the playoffs. I don't want to hear from Joe Judge about my 6-10 team didn't make the playoffs because Philly played. And there's no guarantee that even if they play Jalen Hurts, they score again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he had only scored 14 points that game. Like, there was no guarantee they win that game. So, stop. Stop with the they disgraced it. Stop with the they did this. Stop with they did that. Oh, they cost us the chance. So what? They're the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you want the Philadelphia Eagles to do you a favor? No. You know what you should have done? You should have beat the Philadelphia Eagles. You know who you should be mad at? You should be mad at your quarterback for tripping over the 20-yard line. Because that cost you a game, too.
Didn't they win that game, though?
No, they lost that game. No, they lost that game.
Joe Judge, since you are listening here, let me drop some knowledge here on you, okay? Since you did not make the playoffs, you have 11th overall pick. If you would have made it to the playoffs, you would have been at least 19th at best. That is an 8-pick swing. That is franchise-changing picks there. What I'm saying, franchise-changing, what is the biggest need for the New York Giants right now? Probably wide receiver help, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. There are 2 or 3 big receivers in the draft right now, one of which have won the Heisman. Many of people have him going number 12th overall. You are sitting at number 11. If you would be sitting at number 19, he would not be dropping down to you. No receivers would. Worth picking in the first round at least. So
hell, the Eagles just put themselves in position to take him at 6.
Exactly. So I don't understand why you are complaining and bitching and moaning and groaning. You are the 11th overall pick. Same thing with the Eagles. I applaud them for losing that game, to be honest with you. They're sitting at number 6. If they don't want number 6, they can trade it to the Eagles and get 2 first-round picks next year, right? Sorry, the Washington team. So the Eagles are set up for a 6th pick. Giants are number 11. You guys understand that you guys are just a few pieces away here or there to be playoff contending teams? Like, let's be flat out honest. I mean, the Eagles, they have everybody but some receiver help. Giants have everybody when they have Barkley coming back. They need a receiver. You guys are in poised position to get good receivers, good draft picks, and make a playoff run next year. Then you can bitch and moan and complain when you are 10-6 and you miss the playoffs.
If you're not with them when they're 6-10, don't be with them next year when they're 7-9.
Right.
I have no sympathy for anybody in the NFC East. I don't. Whoever won that division didn't deserve to win the division, but they won the division and they're in the playoffs.
The
if
only
you didn't win the
sympathy
division,
I have,
be better.
The only sympathy I have right now is for Dak Prescott. That was the gnarliest injury I've seen in a while, besides Alex Smith.
They would have ran away with this division if Dak doesn't get hurt.
That was a gnarly injury.
Yeah.
So that's the only person that I really feel bad for.
In a contract year.
So speaking of Dak, on our Instagram page, Man Hour, you guys can follow us on Instagram. I was in a conversation with another sports show that you can say we're rivals, but we do the same content and stuff like that. And he says he does not see Jimmy G, he said he does not see Jimmy G being in San Francisco next year. And I asked why. He said it was just a gut feeling, yada yada yada. And then I proposed a question to him, and I'm like, what if Dak Prescott and Jimmy G just switch spots, boom, boom, right? That would instantly make both teams better, I think. Instantly.
Dak Prescott is coming to Chicago Bears.
No, he's not.
And Jimmy G.
If Dak goes anywhere, he will be going to a team that is worth a damn. The Bears are not worth a damn.
Oh my God, give me a break. The Bears are a quarterback away from being.
You have Mitchell Trubisky. You better be filling out Mitchell Trubisky apology form.
Stop it. They need a quarterback. They do not have a quarterback. And look, I just want anybody. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that's why I said Dak's coming to Chicago and Jimmy G is gonna be his backup, because I just want any quarterback, like literally any quarterback. Like I don't care who it is. Like,
what about
anything
Jameis?
Other than what we have. Jameis, I would love to see Jameis Winston in a Bears uniform. He just doesn't have the skin color of a quarterback that the Bears will sign. Unfortunately,
half of it though.
So I'm a big, you know me, and I listen to a lot of sports talk here, and I'm a big fan of the John Zagul, who may be joining us here in a couple days, who does a lot of the sports talk here in Chicago, and he was talking today about how he's a big Mitch supporter. He likes Mitchell Trubisky. He thinks Mitchell Trubisky got a raw deal. I disagree with him. I don't think Mitchell Trubisky got a raw deal. I think if you watch the games, go back and actually watch the film on Mitchell Trubisky, even his completed passes were pretty much 80% misses. Like, the receivers had to go and make plays on him.
Right.
So, no, we're not just I think I missed one. We're not just a core. We need a new GM. We need a new owner. And we need a couple of pieces on the offensive line. Maybe one or two good pass blocking, offensive linemen would be great. But
so you're saying you need a owner, GM, coach, quarterback, offensive line, running back, linebacker, safety, right?
I want to give Nagy an opportunity with a quarterback that he gets to pick. So you let whatever GM.
Trubisky?
No, he came in after Trubisky got drafted.
Okay.
I think it was the year. It was his second year in the league. Is when Nagy got hired. But yeah, because it was John Fox who let Mitch Trubisky play his first year.
Gotcha.
So I would say you let Matt Nagy choose his quarterback. You say, hey, look, we're going to the draft. Choose your quarterback. Whoever the GM is at the time, that would be what I would do. And see what you have in Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy did a lot of good things with Patty Mahomes. Matt Nagy, so I would like to see what he can do with a quarterback that he can handpick. Give him 2 years. If it's a rookie, you give him 2 years. If you go out and you get Jimmy G or Dak Prescott or another big-name quarterback, then you give him 1 year and say, let's see what you can do, and go ahead and get it done. And if you have a winning season and we're at least in the NFC Championship game, you're safe. But a GM for sure. The owner is not going to happen. I mean, let's just face it. The owner thing's not going to happen. She's never going to die. She's like 185 years old. She's never going to die. So we're not getting a new owner. But we're going to have a new GM. There's no way Ryan Pace keeps his job. If Ryan Pace keeps his job, I might go out and be like you and LeBlanc and go find a second team to root for.
Bandwagon's always open, man.
Yeah, but I just don't I don't see that happen. So we're gonna have a new GM and we'll have a new quarterback. And you go out and you draft a couple of offensive linemen, even if you have to trade up in the draft to get one of them. I mean, there's a couple out there that are really, really good. That will be available all first round. So do what you got to do, make it happen, and the Bears will be a contender next year.
And speaking of doing what we got to do, guys, we got to take a quick little break. On the other side of the break, we got some NFL playoff power rankings. I got my list of 14 teams here of the NFL power rankings. Combs has no idea what the rankings are whatsoever. We're going to get a raw reaction from him and go about it. So right after the break, guys, got some NFL playoff power rankings. We'll be right back after this. Do you need a new hoodie? Head over to manhour.com and pick yourself up one right now. They're on sale. Use promo code MANHOUR to save yourself 10%. That is promo code MANHOUR at manhour.com. Hoodie time.
What is going on? It's your boy Brandon Combs from the Man Hour. If you have not downloaded Thrive Fantasy yet, I am not sure what you're waiting for. Download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or Play Store by visiting their website, www.thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. Use promo code MANHOUR when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant match bonus up to $50 on your first deposit of $20 or more. That's promo code MANHOUR, thrivefantasy.com.
Coming up on the Man Hour. Have the Padres done enough this offseason to overtake the NL West in 2021? Why haven't the Mets made a big splash in the offseason yet? Who is going to be the first free agent to start signing this season? What are the Cubs doing? All that much more on the Man Hour. And our nation, do us a favor right now. Please hit that like button and share this with a couple friends as well. It would be highly appreciated. It helps the channel out more than you would ever know. Please hit that like button right now. Also sub to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Man Hour. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes with Brandon Combs here. We've been talking a little bit of NFL. You know, we touched on the COVID situation, and that conversation always led into a deep conversation. And you know, that's what me and Combs do, because this is live, raw, uncut sports talk every Monday through Thursday on youtube.com/Man Hour. If you guys are just joining us, be sure to hit that like button and also share this with a couple friends. But Combs, I had the 14 playoff teams here, and I haven't told you the list. Well, you know the teams that are in there, but I haven't told you the ranking of them. Did you guys switch times? Well, yes, we did. Man. Sheesh.
I told him this 7 times. We are now 2 hours, Monday through Thursday. 8. I'm going to say this easy for you, Junior. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. your time. Okay? 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. So
East Coast
2 hours.
Because East Coast is probably the worst time zone in the world. Like, let's be flat out honest. I hate East Coast time.
Yeah.
The best the best time zone is Central.
All one time, and we should all be on West Coast time, because then football would start at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's fine with me. Wake up, watch some football. The Sunday night game's over by 8 p.m.
But then what would you do for the next 3 hours of your life? Listen to Man Hour. Hell yeah. So, NFL Playoff Power Ranking Edition. So, I have only got the 14 teams that are in the playoffs. So, I have kind of gone back and forth, Combs, a little bit on this number 14 spot here. And I'm going to go with the LA Rams. I'm going to put LA Rams at number 4 to 14. I think they are the worst team in the playoffs. Judging by your action, you do not agree with that at all.
I do not. Look, I'm a Bears fan, and the Bears are the worst team in the playoffs.
No, they're not. Yeah. It's the LA Rams, because the LA Rams, I think they are just something about the Rams is just that, like, I have not bought into them like all season. Yes, they were like 6-1 earlier in the season, I think, and they were if you guys remember, Matt Benz had them in like the top 5 for the longest time, and he kept riding that train.
Though, man, that defense is so good.
But you have to score points though at some point.
They're going to beat Seattle this weekend.
You really think they're going to go into Seattle?
As bad as Seattle has been offensively, yes, absolutely 100%. That Rams defense is going to wreak havoc. It's going to be a low-scoring game, and the Rams are going to pull this one out. I'm telling you right now, the Rams are winning this game.
And I've seen many people having the Seahawks go to the NFC Championship game versus the Packers, so that would be a major bracket buster for those people. But then
they're all wrong. The Bucks are going to the Super Bowl.
That's a false statement right there. But coming in at number 13, I do have your Chicago Bears, simply because they have kind of backed their way into the playoffs. However, I do like the Bears against the Saints. I don't know why, but I do think they have a shot against the Saints.
Don't do that to me. Don't give me hope.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate slap in the face, though, of like every Bears fan out there?
I said this past weekend, and I only told one person this, because I do believe in jinxes, and I do believe that there is all that. I do think that the Saints win this game. However, if there is one team in the NFC that I think the Bears could upset, it's the New Orleans Saints. The way they run that offense plays into the Bears' strengths. The Bears are great at stopping the run, and the Bears are great at stopping short pass games, and that's all that the Saints have. They are not an explosive downfield team. The Bears match up really well with the New Orleans Saints. They can pull it off, but it's in New Orleans, and at the end of the day, I think it's a close game, but I do think the Saints will end up pulling it out.
The biggest advantage that the Bears have right now is that the Saints aren't allowing any fans into their stadium, if I'm still correct. So that noise is not going to be a factor whatsoever.
See, at the same time, though, I think that sometimes a home field advantage can be a home field disadvantage, because if the Bears go into New Orleans, even a packed New Orleans stadium, say they get the ball first and they score, then say they stop New Orleans, 3 and out on the next series, and they get the ball back and they score again, all of a sudden that crowd's quiet.
Right.
And that plays against the New Orleans Saints. So I think that the Bears match up really well with them. I think the Bears have a shot to pull off the upset. So I disagree. I think the Bears are the worst playoff team out there. That offense is so suspect. Even though they've played really well, I got to give it to Mitch Trubisky. He's played relatively well over the last 5 weeks, and it's Mitch Trubisky, so I just keep waiting for it to end.
Right.
I just do. So I would have had the Bears at 14. I don't even think I'd have the Rams at 13. I might have them at like 11 or 12. I have to sit down and look at it, but.
Well, just to recap, I got the Rams at 14, the Bears at 13, and coming at number 12, I do have the Cleveland Browns. With their just for some reason I don't have stock in the Browns because the receivers all have COVID. I think some of them are going to be back, but then the majority of them aren't going to be back.
Yeah.
COVID is running rampant, so you don't even know who's going to play like at this point. So that's why I got the Browns so low.
I think they'd probably be my number 13, just because even if they were fully healthy, even if they had their coach, I think I'd still have them there because the wild card is Baker Mayfield. And in situations like this, he tends to crap his pants. And that's what I think he's going to do again. So that's why I don't think that they have a chance even fully healthy. But yeah, I don't have a problem with them there at 12 though either.
And they coming in at number 11 do have the football team. I think this is your X factor in the whole playoffs. Like I've been saying it since about Thanksgiving. I told you guys that an NFC East team was going to win a playoff game, and the football team couldn't have a better matchup versus the Bucs because if you get pressure on Tom Brady, he is not a very good quarterback. I saw a stat earlier today that his QBR drops almost 80 points when he has pressure on him.
The best matchup for them is the same that was the best matchup for the Bears, which is the New Orleans Saints.
No, come on now.
A good defense has a chance to beat them a lot. The same thing, or the Seahawks would have been a better matchup than the Bucs. The Washington football team is so good defensively that they're like the Bears, man.
Yeah.
If that defense comes out to play and that offense can put up 17, 20 points, you've got a really good shot at beating whoever you're playing. So I don't think that they're going to pull it off, but I'm rooting for them. I always root for the underdog. I did pick the Bucs to win the Super Bowl this year, so I'm sticking with my pick. But at the same time, I don't have a horse in the race. I didn't put any money on it, so I'll be pulling for Washington.
And speaking of the team that you're pulling for to win the Super Bowl, the Bucs, I had them coming at number 10.
Man. So right now, with the way that they've been playing, you think that the Seattle Seahawks are better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I think
they've been hot garbage since week 7.
You are right. But this is a complete game, and I think the Seahawks defense is coming on good now. Their front seven has figured things out, and the Bucs defense is not playing like the way they were earlier. Ever since that Kansas City game, they have not done much. So that's why I had them low.
I don't understand. People love Seattle, and I get Russell Wilson. I get that, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't like it. They did win their last 4, but their last 4 were against the Jets, Washington, the Rams, and the Niners. So against 2 really bad teams and against the 2 teams that you have ranked below them or really low in the playoffs. So,
but those 2 games are also division games, very, very tough games to win.
Yeah, but the Seahawks just are not. To me, they're not that. I think that the Seattle Seahawks of the division winners are the worst of the division winners.
Okay.
So I would have the Bucs. I would have the Seahawks at 10 probably.
Okay. Well, coming in at number 9, a division winner is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have been all smoke and mirrors all year. They benefited from a pretty favorable schedule earlier in the year, and when times got tough, they dropped 3 games in a row. So that's why I got the Steelers coming at now.
They dropped
9.
3 games in a row after completely being screwed by the schedule with COVID.
I agree with that.
And the NFL's lack of preparation for it. So, and then they lost the final game of the season,
to
the Browns. But they only played their backups.
Which they tanked, right?
And they only lost by 2 points, by the way. So,
and speaking of losing by 2 points, the Ravens will probably lose their first round game. But I do have the Ravens coming in at number 8.
You have the Ravens higher than the Steelers.
I do. It is a complete.
The Steelers beat them twice this year.
Okay. Notre Dame beat Clemson earlier this season. They shit the bed earlier in the championship game. It is hard.
It's not the same, but and you know that.
Number 7, I got the Indianapolis Colts.
Again, both of those teams are worse than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Colts are going to the Super Bowl.
And the Steelers just beat the Colts 2 weeks ago. Okay. In Indianapolis.
That's fine.
I
still think the Colts are better than the Steelers right now.
All right. I mean, you don't have anything to back that up. I mean, because the Steelers just beat them 2 weeks ago.
It doesn't matter. Number 6 are the Titans. Number 6, I do have the Titans. I do think the Titans are like the Ravens-Titans game is by far the best game in the first round. I think that we have. So I do think the Titans are a little bit better than the
If you
Ravens.
had the Steelers here, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But the fact that you have the Titans, the Ravens, and the Colts, all teams who, by the way, the Steelers beat this year, and I don't know what you see.
I
would
see
have
that
Pittsburgh
Big
at
Ben
6.
is not healthy. I see that the defense is starting to struggle. I see that the running game is lackluster since week 7. I see
But
that
you
Big
don't
Ben.
see that Seattle's been lackluster since week 7. Their entire team's been lackluster since
They've
week 7. And their
improved the
defense
last
has
4
been
weeks.
suspect?
They are better.
Oh, my God.
They are better. Dakota Chrysler, you boys.
Oh, my God. All right. Who's 5?
Number 5, you got the Green Bay Packers.
What?
Coming in at number 4, I do got the
What?
Seattle Seahawks. I think they are the second best team in the NFC. Seahawks.
So you have the Green Bay Packers behind.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a Bears fan, man. I hate the Green Bay Packers. You know this. But, I mean, be honest with yourself, Buck.
I am being
How do
honest.
you have the Green Bay Packers behind the Seattle Seahawks right now?
Because you said it yourself, the Packers are going to lose in the first round that they play.
So if the Seahawks played the Packers this week, you would take the Seahawks as the favorite?
In a heartbeat.
No.
Coming in at number 3, I got this New Orleans Saints. In Drew Brees, I trust for a first round exit, but they are a top team, obviously.
But you just got done telling me that the Bears have.
Yeah, the Bears have the best shot of beating the Saints. Are they going to beat them? No.
God.
Number 2, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 1, the Buffalo Bills.
Man, that's something we could talk. So,
Fight me.
man, the Kansas City Chiefs, Bills over the Chiefs. I like the Bills, man. I really do. I think that the Bills are going to play in the AFC title game. They're going to get their chance, and whether they're going to play the Chiefs or not, it remains to be seen.
Right.
I think the Chiefs have a tougher road than the Bills do. Man.
If the Bills have to play the Titans, I think the Titans beat the Buffalo Bills in that second round.
No.
But if the Buffalo Bills play anybody else but the Titans, they win the second round. And
The Titans aren't. Look, Buffalo is playing so good right now on both sides of the ball.
You're right.
The Titans are not beating them. The Titans are a one-dimensional team. The Titans are they go with Derrick Henry.
Don't tell Tim that.
Huh?
Don't tell Tim that.
Look, I'll tell anybody I want to that they are a one-dimensional team, and I don't think. Look, I don't think anybody is beating Buffalo right now the way that they're playing. I mean, it's going to. You're going again. It's going to have to be one of those games that we talked about with Cleveland Browns. In order to beat the Buffalo Bills, you're going to have to play a flawless game. You can't make mistakes. You can't commit penalties. You can't have any turnovers. You have to play a flawless game. And in order to do that, you're going to have to pass the ball.
And the Buffalo Bills just signed Kenny Stills as well, so that makes them even more dangerous on the outside.
Yeah, I really love this Buffalo Bills team, man. And I picked them before the season started to upset the Chiefs because I didn't think they'd be the 2 seed. I picked them to upset the Chiefs early in the playoffs. So can you imagine the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl and losing again for the 5th straight time?
Wouldn't it be funny if they did repeat? What did Buffalo? They went 4 straight Super Bowls or 3
4
straight Super
in the
Bowls?
90s. 4.
Wouldn't that be funny if Josh Allen led into 4 straight Super Bowls and they lost in the repeat history?
I don't know if it'd be funny. Yeah, I guess it would be funny.
It would be very funny.
I would feel bad. I got a lot of friends who are Bills fans. I'd feel bad for them. I'd laugh at them, but I'd feel bad for them.
I would feel more bad if they lost to like a Chicago Bears team in the Super Bowl.
I hate you.
Let's go ahead and take
like
a quick,
Buffalo,
man.
like a Bears team this year with Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, I'm talking about this year.
Dude, if the Bears are in the Super Bowl this year, I'd put something like I would put something on to where if the Bears make the Super Bowl, like I will shave my head because I love the Bears, man, and I want to see them there. But there is no way on God's green earth they are beating Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks again. There is no way
they don't have to beat the Bucks. The football team will beat the Bucks in the first round.
No.
They will have to go through the Saints, through the Packers, and probably through the Seahawks as well.
And they're not beating it. And the Packers are the best team in the NFC, Buck. I don't know what you see. They're the number 1 seed, so I don't know how you think that the Saints are better than them. Because
they look at the division that they played in. Come on, man.
Oh, and when they played head-to-head, Green Bay waxed that ass.
Wax? Who's ass?
The Saints.
Oh, but what about the Bucks? The Bucks waxed that ass. Come on.
Yeah.
Man.
But I think the Bucks are going to the Super Bowl. So,
and I don't think they're getting out of the first round. So,
yeah, we are wrong and I'm right. So,
well, we'll see. After the break, we got some college football talk, guys. We've been talking about Notre Dame football a lot, and it's time to talk a little Ohio State football. Are you ready, Combs?
Ohio State football.
Yeah, the Ohio State. We'll be right back, guys, on the Mauer. Do you need a new hoodie? Head over to manhour.com and pick yourself up one right now. They're on sale. Use promo code MANHOUR to save yourself 10%. That is promo code MANHOUR at manhour.com. Hoodie time.
What is going on? It's your boy Brandon Combs from the Man Hour. If you have not downloaded Thrive Fantasy yet, I am not sure what you're waiting for. Download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or Play Store by visiting their website, www.thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. Use promo code MANHOUR when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant match bonus up to $50 on your first deposit of $20 or more. That's promo code MANHOUR, thrivefantasy.com.
Coming up on the Man Hour. Have the Padres done enough this offseason to overtake the NL West in 2021? Why haven't the Mets made a big splash in the offseason yet? Who is going to be the first free agent to start signing this season? What are the Cubs doing? All that much more on the Man Hour. Man Hour Nation, do us a favor right now. Please hit that like button and share this with a couple friends as well. It would be highly appreciated. It helps the channel out more than you would ever know. Please hit that like button right now. Also, sub to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Man Hour. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckash with my man, Brandon Combs. I don't know why I was in solo mode there, but it is what it is. So, Combs, we've been kind of talking some NFL, but obviously there's a minor league team that we got to talk about, college sports, right? Mm-hmm. College sports that pays, kids roughly about $10,000 a year plus strippers and all this other stuff to get to the big leagues. Shots at Louisville there if you guys have not catch my drift there. But we talked a little bit about a Notre Dame, Alabama yesterday, and Combs made a statement that I want to address first things first on this college football segment here. You said that college football regular season is watered down, right?
For sure.
How do you fix that then? How do you fix college football for not being so watered down?
I would let the committee make the schedules. I would look. There is no reason, and I got into it with somebody today on YouTube, who was chiming in on our stuff saying you're crazy, blah blah blah. The SEC plays a tough schedule every single year. And so I threw out Alabama's last 3 schedules at them. Let's talk about 2017, and I believe they played one team that was ranked. They played, their normal 3 or 4 divisional games, which, they play Tennessee and all the lower division. Like, Tennessee hasn't been good in years. Ole Miss hasn't been good in years. And then when they get out of schedule, they're playing, Western Kentucky. They're playing Citadel. They're playing, you know what I mean? Like, they don't play anybody out of conference. And, they play Oklahoma every year, but, that, sure, I'll give you Oklahoma. I'll give you the one game they played against Florida State, but Florida State hasn't been a good program in 10 years. So they just don't. They don't play, and that's the whole SEC. I mean, LSU's that way, Georgia's that way. These teams stack their schedules to play like that. Notre Dame, they just don't. I mean, yes, they do have 1 or 2 games every year where they play that are just, teams
Air Force, Army.
Well, yeah, but Air Force has been pretty good over the last 10 years or so. They've actually been ranked over the last 5 years. Army always, gives you a tough game because they're Army. And then, but every year Notre Dame plays USC. They play, Michigan State. They play big name schools. When they play those games at the same time, so if you're telling me that an Alabama win versus Citadel is better than a Notre Dame 3-point loss to Michigan, I'll argue with you every day of the week. If that's their only loss at the end of the year, they should absolutely be ranked with 1 loss over an undefeated Alabama who played a bunch of cupcakes in their entire schedule. I mean, I don't understand what they do and how they do it. And so if you put it in the committee's hands, right, and you say, you guys make our schedule, you're going to see tougher games. I go back to 2019 for Alabama, okay? So this is their schedule. Arkansas. Then they played Mizzou. Then they played Tennessee. Then they played LSU, and they shut LSU out that year. Then they played Mississippi State. Then they played Citadel. Then they played Auburn. Then they did get tough, and they played Georgia and Oklahoma. But then they played Western Carolina. You know what I mean? Like, other than those, 2 or 3 games of really big names, who did you play? What did you do that showed that you are so much better than other football teams out there? No, I don't want to see Alabama playing Citadel. You know what? Instead of Citadel, how about Alabama plays, I don't know. Give me a
Kansas State.
Kansas State. Somebody of some sort of relevance. Somebody who make them play USC. Make them play. Cal always has a reason to go out there. Make them play a team, Boise State. I don't even care if it's that caliber, because you know what? Boise State's always been that team that can upset you and can show up and give you a good game. But they don't do that. They play the Western Carolinas, the Western Kentuckys, the Citadels. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So to say that it's not watered down is to me, I think you're just not looking at it. And the way to fix it is to let somebody else make the schedule other than the schools and the athletic directors.
So, first things first is I'm going to take your comments that you make about the NFL schedule, and you can only play who is in front of you. So,
but the NFL schedule doesn't get made by the owners. The NFL schedule gets made by a committee.
You are right, but the SEC commissioner makes the SEC schedule, right? And it is not Alabama's fault that Ole Miss hasn't been good, that Tennessee hasn't been good. But they still play LSU every year. They still play Auburn every year.
Okay, but why do they play the Citadel? Why doesn't the SEC guys say, "Hey, you know what? Let's play an ACC"?
Because
let's play
you
a Big 12
play
team.
These cupcake teams, and that is their preseason. That is their preseason.
That's not their preseason. They play Western Carolina the final game of the season.
Okay, so
Come
just
on.
because I see what you're saying, but every year you have 3 non-conference games that you schedule, and if you look at every other major program. You can let's pull up Kansas State. Every year, the first 3 games of the season, they're playing Division II schools, more or less, or a Western Kentucky or something like just like that. When Bill Snyder set this trend back in the early 90s, he said, "Why do I want to go play USC and lose, or I can play a North Dakota State? We can give them $1 million. They're happy, and they come to Manhattan. They get their butts kicked, and we get fans in the stands. We get a winning culture happening. We get the train running into Big 12 season. It's freaking genius.
Let's take Kansas State 2019. Yes, they did play Nicholls State to open up the season, and then they got Bowling Green in the second game of the season. But then they played Mississippi State, Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, West Virginia, Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Navy. Yeah. So, Navy was the bowl game, but
right.
So sure, yeah, you had the 2 cupcake games, but they didn't continue to go ahead and do it. Like once they got into meat and potatoes of their schedule, they played tough games.
Right, and
you know
just
what I mean?
so the only reason why that Alabama is playing Citadel in December, it is because the SEC commissioner wants SEC on primetime TV, so they always try to schedule some big headline SEC games week 1, week 2 to get the buzz going about the college football season.
But that's what I'm
saying.
SEC. So they're doing. I know why they're doing it. I know exactly what it is. It's to keep them relevant. It's to keep them in the talk. It's so that they don't lose a game to a North Carolina, or they don't lose a game to whoever. You look at Notre Dame's schedule in 2019, they played Louisville to start the season, then they had New Mexico. You could call New Mexico a powder puff game, sure. Louisville's been a down program over the last few years, sure. But then Georgia, Virginia, USC.
Just in their defense, normally these games are scheduled 4 or 5 years in advance. So Louisville had Lamar Jackson with the Heisman Trophy. They were a relevant school then. So just to defend them a little bit.
And then they play USC, they played Michigan, Virginia Tech, Duke, Navy, Boston College, and Stanford. Like, they don't play those cream puff schedules. They might get one, in there. I think they played. You can call Duke a cream puff if you want. Bowling Green maybe, but like, they don't do what these SEC schools do. They don't do what these ACC schools do. They don't play Citadel. They don't play, Akron. They don't play Western Kentucky. They don't do that.
But also on the flip side, Notre Dame has to do that to be able to get relevancy in the college football playoff because they don't have that conference because they don't have that conference to fall back onto. But just to add to your point there,
could you imagine how extreme the hatred is for Notre Dame? And even Notre Dame knows how extreme the hatred is for Notre Dame. Can you imagine if Notre Dame went to the SEC and they went 12-0 and they beat the Citadel and they beat the Western Kentucky? Can you imagine how many people would be screaming?
I would. Let's say Notre Dame joined the SEC and they go undefeated year in and like year out. Not the only reason why they go undefeated into the SEC championship game is because they're on the East and they're not with like Alabama and LSU and those schools, right? And they're consistently playing Georgia, right? And they lose to, let's say, Alabama in the SEC championship game, 4 or 5 years in a row. Notre Dame would be out of the college football playoff more times than not because of the hatred for Notre Dame. Right. I totally agree with that. The college football playoff committee has, whether you want to say it or not, there is a bias out there.
Oh yeah,
Alabama has not missed a college football playoff since the inception of the playoff. Like, how crazy is that? Yes, Alabama has been dominant, whatever you want to say. But that year that they didn't even win their conference championship, they didn't even go to the conference championship, and they got in over the team that won the championship. Right. Like, come on now, that is 100% bias.
And not only that, but if you want to make the the regular season actually means something, you need to expand the playoffs. Because if you're going to tell either that, or you have to tell some of these smaller conferences they're not eligible. Because if you're going to tell me that a Coastal Carolina can go undefeated but is going to sit at 10th or sit at 8th, or you're going to tell me that Cincinnati or whoever is going to go undefeated and then not even have a chance to get there anyway, what's the point of the regular season? Why are two lost teams ranked ahead of them? That shouldn't be a thing. There
Strength of schedule.
Well, right, I get that, but what is the strength of schedule for real? So you're telling me that this team is lesser, but they're playing lesser teams, but they're not playing Citadel? They're not playing Western Kentucky?
You're right. They're playing Tulsa.
Right, but they're playing their conference games, and then their out of conference games. They do what.
Yeah.
If you're
I see what you're
telling me the SEC, these guys are powerhouses. These are a Power 5 conference. That's what they call them, a Power 5 conference. If you are in a Power 5, you should be playing a Power 5 schedule.
So you kind of took my thunder there a tad bit, and like my thought process of, because a watered down regular season, how you go away from that is to expand the playoffs to 18 or from 8 to like 16 teams or something to that effect. So then losing one time in the regular season doesn't get you out of consideration for that whatsoever. What is so special about the March Madness tournament that I love so much every year in March through April is that, yes, it is 64 teams or 68 teams now, right? But you have those teams. Who is that school from Chicago that went to the Elite Eight just a couple years ago that nobody heard of? That Catholic school with Sister Mary Clarence or whatever. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Let's say a school like Cincinnati gets in as a 16 seed as in the college football playoff. What a Cinderella story that would have been, or maybe not Cincinnati, but like a Coastal Carolina. What a Cinderella story that could have been. Like, they can make so much money off of this stuff, promoting it. Yes, I can already see it now. Oh, they already played so many regular season games, yada yada yada. We'll cut out those 3 non-conference games like you did this year, and boom, there's your answer. You still play the same number of games. So, how you properly unwater down, your words, not mine, the regular season is extend the playoffs. Make it so every conference champion goes to the big dance, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ways you could do it. I think that how many conferences are in Division One?
I could think of 10 off the top
8?
of my head. Well, let's see here. You got the
the
Power
FBS.
5. Yeah, so you got the Power 5, and then you got the AAC, and then you got the Mountain West, and then there's 7 right there. Is the Big East still a thing?
It up right now.
The Big East is in basketball.
That's where Cincinnati plays, isn't it?
No, Cincinnati is a part of the AAC. It's the Atlantic, or it's the American Athletic Conference or something.
All right, so here you go. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 conferences. So you got the ACC, the American Conference, you got the Big 12, the Big 10, Conference USA, the Independent Conference, the MAC, the Mountain West.
Wait, what is the
Pac-12,
Independent Conference? That's like Army.
It's
Army, Navy,
Liberty, BYU, Army, and UMass.
Okay.
And normally Notre Dame.
Right.
And then you have the
that's not really
Mountain
a conference.
West, Pac-12,
so
SEC, and Sun Belt.
So you're looking at 10 because you can't really count Independent as a conference because they don't play each other, right? There's not a conference champion because then they wouldn't be independent.
Well, they do. I mean, Notre Dame plays BYU a lot. They play Army a lot.
Yeah, but there's no independent conference championship. That's
no.
That's what I'm saying. So you are looking at 10. So you pull the winner from each conference. They go into a 10, and then you have 6 wild card seeds. And that's where your committee comes into play.
I would love that. I think a 16-team playoff would be great for college football. I mean, who's not going to watch it? I mean, that's what the college football.
I would watch it 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care if it is let's say it's Boise State versus Alabama in the first round. I'm watching.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for Boise State.
So think about this.
Blue, and I'm rooting for Boise State.
Think about this. How much of that talent would then disperse across college football? You would not have 5 stars sitting on the bench in Alabama because that's their only way of getting to the college football. Like you have 5 stars going to Boise State, to Cincinnati, to etc.
And not only that, but then you can take these teams. You can take a Cincinnati and put them up against Alabama. You can take and I would say that no conference should be able to play a Division II or Division III opponent. There should be no reason.
I would say after week 3, you cannot play a Division II opponent.
Why? Why?
Because the reason is because like week 1 and week 2, they're usually for tune-up games, right? Like because there is no preseason in college football. Like because in the current setup that we have right now, if you played all conference games and you stumble one time, week 1, right? That could, in theory, blow your whole championship shot, right? I mean, like you could
still win your conference. I mean, if you go. If Cincinnati plays Alabama week 1 and Cincinnati loses to Alabama, they could still go out and win their conference. Absolutely, they could.
Well, like I was thinking you would have played nothing but conference games, but like I see what you're saying. But this
and
is
then
also
the final
what
6 go. It's going to be those 1 and 2 lost teams are going to be what the final 6 are. I'd be all for it. That's how you get it so that the schedule and the regular season isn't watered down, as you make every team play a relevant schedule. You have to play a relevant schedule. There's no reason why Alabama should be playing against Western Kentucky and winning 67-0 every single year. Right. There's no reason for it. If you want to say, it's a tune-up game, sure, then play one tune-up game before the season starts. I'm fine with one tune-up game for every college team before the season starts. Why not?
Well, the problem with that is then you are limited to the number of games. So, like I don't know if it's games or quarters, but like you can only play X amount of quarters in a college football season.
So instead of a 12-game season in the SEC, you get an 11-game season. So what?
I mean, like I definitely agree with you. Like I'm looking up the Division II NCAA playoffs here because like this is what playoffs should be, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They have a 16 team bracket every year in Division II.
Right.
So it looks like the top 2 seeds get a bye, and then there is 3 playing games. So
and I mean, you look at a couple years back. I know it's good for college football every once in a while. You get like who was it? Was it Appalachian State that came out and beat was it Michigan or something like that?
Yep.
They came out and beat a big school.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while you get that, and you get that team that can come up and have that one big game, and that's their Super Bowl or whatnot. That's all good and well, but it's so few and far between that actually happens. Like, I would much rather see a Colorado, face and beat Alabama than watch an Appalachian State face and beat Alabama. Because I think that once you start doing that, like you said, the talent, when your recruiting process is going to go different. You're going to spread the talent more evenly across college football.
Right.
And you're going to have a better product.
So actually, I made a false statement there. It looks like Division II has 24-team bracket that they do. So 24 teams make the Division II.
That's a mini March Madness.
Yeah, I mean, like for the longest time, Division I football was the only division of football that didn't have a playoffs. And looking at the Division II, 24 teams make the playoffs, and they've been doing it as long as I can remember.
How do you not like? I mean, I think it would be great for college football to watch. Some of these teams, when an AAC team finally beats an SEC team to move on into the college football play. It's just.
I would go buy a Cincinnati jersey right then and there.
It would be so good for college football. It would be great to watch. It would draw a lot of money. It would be great for football.
Yeah. So speaking of great for football, I mean, obviously Cincinnati got beat by Ohio State last week in the college football playoff. But post game, there was a reporter that thought they were on mute. They were on a Zoom call. They thought they were on mute, and they were making fun of Trevor Lawrence's mustache. So this is a grown-ass adult making fun of a 20-year-old's mustache. Are you okay with a reporter poking fun out of these college athletes?
We do it all the time.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, I have no problem with it. Look, you have to be aware of your surroundings, and if there's a possibility that there's a hot mic and you're going to say something you don't want to have heard, probably shouldn't say it. I'm one of those types of people where if I say something, I'm going to stand by it. If it gets me in trouble, I'm going to tell you why I said it, and I'm going to tell you why I don't care that you heard that I said it, because I'm not going to say anything that is going to harm anybody. So when you say, I didn't even hear these comments, so I don't even know what was said, but, you start talking
basically
about,
said he needs to shave his stash because it's a very, very weak stash. It wasn't like hurtful by any means, but like
right.
we live in a society,
culture.
Yeah, where bullying is a real thing. So
it's one of those things. I mean, hell, I go to my brother-in-law's house, and if he's got a little beard going on, I ask him if he wants me to put milk on it so the cat can lick it off. Like, it's one of those things. It's what it's joking around.
But you also know him on a personal level, and they know you're joking around, right? So
yeah, but even if I didn't, I would say it. Like, I have no problem. Like, that's just who I am. Like, I'm not going to say anything behind your back that I can't say to your face.
Yeah,
that's
I am
how I
the
live
same
my life.
100%,
That's who I am. If I say something behind your back, you rest assured that if you ask me about it, I'm going to say it to your face. So, it's, man, I get so sick of the cancel culture, and you got who was it a couple weeks ago that said something about it was the guy what's his face from Sunday Night Football.
Chris Collinsworth?
Chris Collinsworth said something about, there people. I was at this seminar, and there were a lot of women who were asking questions, and I was really genuinely, impressed by that. And so then all of a sudden he had to apologize for what he said because it offended people that, whoa, so what? So women can't like football? That's not what he was saying at all. That's not what he was saying. He was impressed that so many women are taking a liking to the sport of football.
Yeah, because
what is wrong with that?
Because when he was a player, I don't think there were even women on the sideline, to be honest with you. Like water boys, towel boys, trainers, or like anything. It was
it's a great
male-dominated world.
When women are getting into sports. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to watch a game and have some of these sideline reporters that are on there? Erin Andrews. Like, I love watching Erin Andrews. Erin Andrews is beautiful. So every time she's on the screen, I'm like, yeah, man, she's smoking, and she loves sports. Like, what do you mean? Why shouldn't I be attracted to that? But then if I say that I'm attracted to that, all of a sudden I'm a chauvinistic pig. And that's not the case. I'm a man. Like, I'm attracted to women.
Right.
So if I see a woman who's attracted and I say she's pretty or I say she looks good, it's not me saying, "Oh, hey, I want to do something, inappropriate to her." I'm just saying she's beautiful. Like, why? It drives me absolutely insane. Are you seeing the meme out there that you see all over Facebook? Who is it? What the hell is the basketball player there?
Michael Jordan?
He's being interviewed by Erin Andrews, and you can just see him like staring at Aaron Andrews.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
I think it's Tracy McGrady. And you could just see him, and they caught him. They said, there goes Tracy McGrady again.
I mean, like, I'm kind of not against it. I mean, like, I could care less one way or the other. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going to face a lot more ridicule in that in New York.
But that's the world that we live in when it comes to, you know, women and men being like I and we'll talk about this, you know, on another day for sure. But like the Boston Red Sox just hired, you know, the first black woman coach. And I just don't understand, which is why I've been trying to get a woman coach from the Cubs to come on, because I just want to have an understanding for how it works for a woman in that environment. Like, I don't understand. Like, the funnest thing that we have when we watch ESPN after a big team win is when the coaches are dancing with the players in the locker room and they're doing all this stupid stuff that, you know, that they probably shouldn't be doing because they're older and they're dancing and they look silly. If you see the woman in the locker room, it's a totally different thought process. Do you know what I mean? Like,
my thought process behind that is, like, there are many people that, you know, whether you want to say it or like or not, like, I would not feel comfortable being coached by a woman, especially in like a football realm.
I would be okay with being coached by a woman, but when I'm in the locker room where the showers are at and the other stuff, like, that's where I don't understand how it meshes and not only that, but from a respect factor. I mean, let's just face it. When you know, if you do something wrong on a football field, your coach is getting up in your face.
Right.
You do something wrong on a baseball diamond, a coach is pulling you from the game and he's getting in your face. If it's a female doing it, I think that a lot of these guys, and it is what it is, but it's just a different reaction. It's a different respect level. So I have a lot of respect for the women that do this, because I think it's a lot harder for them to do it.
Oh, 100%.
And I would love to hear from one of them as to how the culture is for them in that aspect.
And like I would almost wonder, like, would it be kind of like I have to watch my actions, because if I were to address you like I would a man, like a man coach, are you going to come back at me with like, oh, he's sexist or he's this and that kind of thing?
Well,
like,
I mean, we've all seen the Major League, the movie Major League, you know, when they had the woman reporter and the guy comes out and he's in the towel. Well,
that's the
that
owner.
Stuff happens in a locker room. You know what I mean? Like, you come out of the locker room and you don't have a towel around you and you're going to your locker to dry off or whatnot. That's just how a locker room experience is, and it changes the whole dynamic when there's a female involved, and it should, and it has to.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that dynamic works, and I have a lot of, like I said, I have a lot of respect for the women in this business, not just, you know, reporter-wise, but especially coach-wise. Like, it's got to be 100 times harder to do that as a female. And, you know, whether you want to say, you know, equality and all this other stuff, I get that and I'm all for it. But let's just face it, some things are hard. I never want to have my period. I never want to give birth to a child because I don't think I could handle it. You know what I mean? So there are just some things that, you know, the opposite sex is easier to handle, I should say. And I just, you know, I don't know. I'm very, you know, genuinely intrigued by how that operates behind the scenes.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for the Man Hour tonight. Join us tomorrow. We'll have Zen on for an interview tomorrow. Ohio State offensive lineman commit. We'll have a big interview with Zen. But, guys, as always, Man Hour Nation, you guys have a great night. Man Hour Nation, rise up.